Welcome, everyone. Yes, this is our first episode of the Good Morning News. And what is GM News? That's what we're going to find out. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Diego, publisher. Yeah, let's get
Hi,
started with
friends.
Diego. Tell us what you do, and yeah, what's happening actually. Tell us.
Hi, guys. My name is Diego. I found the Good Morning News. That is a decentralized news organization. I believe it was maybe 1 month, month and a half ago. And since then, I'm just trying my best to spread our word of an uncensored way to spread the news. And I have to thank Mr. Publisher that received me so well in this community.
Oh, as usual, Diego is being completely modest. He is the best promoter we have at Good Morning News. Does an amazing job of getting the information out and just ensuring that people know what we're building here. Can't thank him enough.
Cool. Yeah, take
Thanks,
that
man.
moment and tell us about yourself too.
So I am, I guess, the publisher, founder of Good Morning News, but I use that title very loosely because I'm just the guy that wrote the contract that makes this thing operate. It's the real community that's the heart of this whole thing. Couldn't do it without my trusty right hand, Hero Kennelly, who is with us today. Fantastic writer, fantastic editor, slowly becoming a fantastic journalist too.
Awesome.
I got into crypto. Oh goodness, it was early 2020. I'd been in the stock market long before then, but once I found my way to crypto, I knew that I wanted to build something here that implemented the implemented news information and in Web3. I didn't quite know what that thing was, but I knew that I wanted to do it. And the reason I wanted to do it is because I'd spent the last decade in the news industry. I'm working for a local television station here in my little town in Kansas. And so, yeah, I knew that once I got here, I wanted to build something that that incorporated the news into Web3, and it hadn't been done. Right? There's a lot of newsletters. There's a lot of there's a lot of DAOs, right, that are doing what we're doing here, but they're doing it in a very Web2 way, I thought, right? And I felt like there was a real need there, a real niche that could be filled. And so, talking with some of my close friends, Good Morning News was born. I had finally cracked the nut of figuring out how exactly to implement news in a Web3 way, and that idea was Good Morning News, was deploying an NFT that updates every day with news straight to your wallet.
Awesome. We're gonna get more into that, but before, I would like to hear some, about Hero. Who's Hero? What you do, and what we're doing for the community.
Yeah, hi friends, GM, Hero Kennelly. I am, oh geez, how far do we go back? Let's go back to when I first kind of got into crypto very, very high level, which was, I'm old enough to remember when Bitcoin was launched in 09. And I was also, like most people going, I don't know what this thing is, but it looks really cool, except that at that time I was kind of starting a law career, and I never gave it the kind of attention that it deserved. I would read about it and look at it and go, that's neat. And wow, it's $1, it's $5, it's $200, it's $1,000, right? But never really get involved in it. And then, I've always kind of been into technology generally. I've always thought it presents a unique opportunity to sort of help move humanity forward. I've kind of moved through my lifetime from being quite a pessimist to sort of a techno optimist. And, when I finally quit practicing law, I started writing full time, and that opened up, space for me to begin to, read and research crypto in a more intentional manner. And so for me, I got in, right around DeFi summer of 2020, and started really paying a lot of attention, and then, very slowly began to invest and learn more. I was fortunate enough to subscribe to Bankless HQ's newsletter in January of 2021, which is only a year ago, but seems like about 17 lifetimes ago. And through that, participated in Bankless Now's airdrop. Through that, amazingly, like I got into Discord. Before that, I'd never been in a Discord server. I'd heard of it, but I'd never been there. And so that was my first sort of entry, was with a Web2 tool of all things. And sometime around September of 2021, I joined Bankless DAO in a way that was, we can only describe as triple full time. And started there really to write, and pretty quickly found myself being taken in all kinds of wild directions. And one of those directions is a DAO called DAO Punks, and that's where I met Publisher. While I was helping out at DAO Punks, shortly after minting, we needed new emojis, and somehow Publisher and I figured out that he could make emojis, and so he was making emojis for me and kind of helping to hype the Discord, which was super cool. And then one Saturday morning he pings me and he goes, "Hey partner, you want to know what I built last night?" And I'm going, "Well, sure." And he goes, "It's an on-chain decentralized news organization." I'm going, "Whoa," and I was all the way in. I mean, since then I've been, I've been part of GMN since hour 12. Is that right, Publisher?
It sounds about right. Yeah, it was either hour 6 or 12, one of the two, somewhere in between.
Yeah, and some of this is of the many things I'm kind of find myself participating in these days, and what I would loosely call Web3, although honestly I think it's a pretty terrible name for what we do here. GMN is among the 3 projects which I care deeply about, and I mean deeply about. I mean, I put time into it every day. I talk to Publisher every day. I write or edit or do audio almost every day. I took Christmas off. I think I probably missed a couple days in there otherwise. But it's we're at an interesting point where Publisher's brain is ahead of the technology available to really utilize this decentralized protocol that he built. And so in some ways, he and CCK, another integral member of GMN, hustle really hard to make sure that we can essentially ship and deploy content on the daily, even when my audio is 2 minutes and 14 seconds long, which is 14 seconds longer than it's supposed to be. Or I write a 330-word article instead of a 250-word article, which is more often than not.
I cut that down to 1:56 last night, by the way.
Absolutely stunning. And so, it is because of the community that we're here. It's also very much, in particular because of Publisher and C-Double why we're here. I am a replaceable part of this cog. Those two are not. We're working on becoming, more multinodal, so that we don't rely on Publisher. So when he has a toothache or a migraine, God forbid, the news still ships. And so we are, I think on issue, I think we've shipped 55 issues.
56 was last night, I believe. 57.
Wow, that's amazing. That it turns out, guys, the days keep on going even when you forget that they do. And so that's kind of where we are. We're in an interesting place now, where I really feel like we're on the cusp of kind of breaking the wave of really getting a lot of contributors here. We've had a lot of writers kind of flirt with participating, and a few editors as well. But my sense of the way the world is working is, before too long here, Good Morning News, goes from being kind of a niche product, which is recognized, as being cutting edge by people who care about these things, to maybe being, something that, the wider market, I use market not in an economic term, but just in terms of the market of people who are interested in this kind of technology converging with, news media, are really going to take notice. So it's an interesting time to be here. I'm still trying to find, in some ways, my voice on how. I mean, I can write a little bit, but journalism is a different gig, and it requires a different cadence and a different thought process and a different approach. And so, a different beast. So we're building, this decentralized protocol at the same time we're sort of building our journalistic shots, right? And Publisher spent 10 years in the news industry. I've spent 57 days, and I can tell you that it's as exciting on day 58 today as it was on day 1. And there's a little rush you get when you're writing the news. There's a little bit of ping of joy that you get when you ship it. And I don't expect that ever to go away. And I'm super curious to see what 2022 brings for Good Morning News. I don't know what it is, but I do know that it's going to be a wild ride.
And I do know that I will be in the boiler room and you will be at the writer's desk, whatever that thing is.
And I can tell you that the spirit, the community that we're building is pretty grateful as well, right? You mentioned, Hero, that Discord has been very like chaotic at the beginning, and that's pretty much to everyone, I guess. But let's hear something. Let's hear from Sector, how about his experience when he got into this project and what he's thinking about. Hey, Sector.
Hey all, thank you for having me first of all. And I'll just kick it off with a short intro about me and getting actually back into crypto after a 40-year okay, let's call it I don't know, like a vacation of sorts. I first off, I got into crypto back in 2011. I had a friend who introduced me to the wonders of Bitcoin back then, and I think I bought like a few. Of course, I lost my private keys, but that's another matter.
That's classic.
Oh,
Yeah, classic case of that time. And then a few years passed. I was totally uninterested. I continued playing poker, studying in a university. I'm a computer science major, so wasn't paying attention really. And then 2017 happened, and all of a sudden, the I don't know, the urge to earn some quick money got into me again. So I started running up some ICOs, throwing up money left and right. That thing happened as well, and I took a vacation again until October 2020, when I changed jobs, and a colleague of mine, he was like, "Are you interested in Tezos?" No. Well, what about Bitcoin? I guess not, but I mean, I'm all ears. I'm ready to listen. So that got me back into the game, so to speak. I subscribed to Bankless. I joined the DAO. Started reading more about the DeFi, which I completely missed back in 2017. So just followed the natural trajectory of people getting their feet wet for the first time. And through Bankless, I was able to find out about you guys actually this past week. So I'm completely new to the whole Good Morning News thing. Hopefully we'll be able to contribute in the near future. I've minted an NFT already. I'm a subscriber, and I'm happy to just observe and then ask a question here and there, hopefully poke it into the contract, see how it works out.
Yeah, happy to have you aboard, man. Welcome.
Yeah,
And-
welcome.
and before Gelfi has to introduce himself also, but before you do
Yeah.
that, Gelfi, excuse me, just to say that I know this is a pilot episode, but for me, it already worked. Yes, I did, but Hero
Wait, we're
saying how
recording
he...
something here? I completely forgot. My goodness. I thought we were just having a conversation.
Yeah, that's a good thing, right? Yeah, when Hero told us about his history, and now Sector telling us how he got in this project and how he got in crypto. I think this is the beauty of the thing that we are doing here, and it's more than, I know a lot of people got into crypto because of the money, but we are building something really broader than that. It's about community. We share experiences and everything. Everybody has some good points, some bad experience, but as I like to say, price go up and go down, but the community is always around here. And just to
Yes. One thing I'm really sure that we're not mercenaries. We're here for the mission. We're here for the culture.
Sure.
And I believe that all of us that fell into this rabbit hole can't really sleep as we used to anymore. But we're here building some cool stuff. And that's what
Sleep when
matters.
we're dead. We don't have time to sleep.
Exactly.
That's
I was
why
talking
Chippy made
to
me
Yeah, I want to get back to
and go Gelfi, please introduce us.
Yes.
Who
Thank
are
you guys.
you? What are you doing here?
Yeah, my name is Gelfi. I got started as everyone else here at the Bankless DAO. I was a early adopter of Ethereum, and as the time went by, I started joining these DAOs and Discord. As Hero just say, Discord was a mess at the beginning. I had no idea what was going on. A lot of people talking at the same time, but then, I started to find my way in there. I was never a guy. I was never like a podcaster. I was never a content producer, but that got me opportunities to introduce myself into this space. Well, at the Bankless DAO, I met some other Brazilian friends there, and we now have a Bankless Brazil DAO, actually more focused at the Brazilian community, which is over 200 million people. So we're making lots of stuff there, lots of content, and we're also building this beautiful community. And this year through Diego, we met over, well, I think on Twitter space one day. I was talking there, and he joined my conversation. I invited him to the Bankless Brazil, and now he's there. And through Diego, I met the this project, which is, to me, it's fantastic. Good Morning News. I mean, I can't really. There's no word to express how happy I am to find a project so like promising like this one. And I mean, I came in. I'm all in, starting to do the marketing. I'll do the best I can, hopefully to grow this idea of this really decentralized world that I see. Right. So I've read a lot of books about crypto, about the future of decentralization, and that really impressed me. So that's what I'm here for. That's what I want to build. More culture, teach people about this new world that's coming. So yes, thank you guys for having me in this beautiful organization.
Oh, thank you, friend, and seriously, thank you for your kind words. That means a lot. When
Yeah, man.
when we're in our own little bubble here, building, grinding day in and day out, it's easy to lose focus, right? It's easy to kind of get lost in the mundane. So getting good feedback like that, it really does mean a lot. Thank you, sir.
That's yeah, no problem. Yeah, let's get back to publishing. Yeah, man. Tell us, what is journalism 3.0, and what is the mission of GM News, and also why you chose GM News by any means. Yeah, start there. Thank you.
As far as just the branding,
Yeah.
well, that was just a no-brainer, right? You look on Twitter, there's Good Morning everywhere, GM everywhere. No, in all seriousness, honestly, we actually had a segment in our local newscast here that was called Good in Your Morning News, is what the producer ended up calling that segment. And it always kind of stuck with me because it was, it was catchy, and it was just kind of a fun little name for this morning news segment that we ran. And of course, when GM became very much a trending thing across the cryptoverse, it just seemed like a no-brainer to take that idea and spin it into just Good Morning News. As far as what the mission is here and what we're building, I think the real idea, the real purpose of what we're doing is just to simply enable journalists from around the world, journalists that in any part of the globe, any corner of the globe, to submit some writing to this protocol and get their voice out there. Right. That's the real mission of what we're building here, is to give everyone in the world a chance, a voice. Right. And much like how WikiLeaks did in the very beginning, kind of that same idea of a decentralized journalism that anyone can contribute to, and it will get published, right? That no one can censor. And Hero brought up a good point earlier in his little discussion of right now, yes, we call ourselves a decentralized news organization, but if we're being honest with ourselves, right now we're not. Right now it very much is me updating the contract every night. It is Hero writing every night. It is Katrina editing every night, and COOK managing the Discord. But the cool thing about what we have here is that it quickly scales, right? All we need are the willing personnel to join the protocol, and bam, they have a job, and we decentralize even more, right? We get a good designer in, then I don't have to design every night. We get another programmer in here like Sector who can upgrade the contract every night, then I don't have to do it. So it like I said, it scales very, very quickly. And yes, right now there is only a handful of people doing the work, but anybody can do it, right? Another cool thing is all the software that we use to put this thing together is all free open source software. So anyone in the world can download GIMP, for example, and put this publication together themselves, right? You could really really quickly spin up your own Brazilian version of Good Morning News, for example, right? That's completely separate from what we're doing here, but utilizes the same, the same smart contracts and the same ideas and the same principles. I know that was a long rant. Sorry, I do
No,
that a lot.
No,
well, I
and
think that was
may I
actually, go
sorry,
ahead,
may I
Diego.
give my 2 cents here?
Absolutely.
And I always have to explain people how we work, and just to let people know, as soon as I got here, I got a bunch of news and I gifted them to my friends because that was so amazing. I mean, it was an early project, but for me, it was so innovative. It was so, I never seen anything about anything
that.
related to what we are doing here. So just to people know, so when you get your Good Morning News NFT on your wallet, every night when we publish a news story, you just have to update the metadata of your NFT and you get the news
That's
now
right.
and forever.
That's
Just,
right.
yeah, just to let people know how it
And
works.
you're absolutely right. A lot of people don't even realize that they can update the metadata on their NFTs, and it really is as simple as updating a website or refreshing a website, right? And even the icons and the buttons are very similar.
Yeah.
And
So
you
you're
can
pretty
do
much
it.
saying that you gotta go to like the OpenSea, for example, and just click on the update button there, right?
Yes. There's just a
Yeah.
little pinwheel right there on the OpenSea interface that says update metadata. You click that, refresh your page, and within a few minutes, you'll have the latest issue of Good Morning News right in your wallet. And you don't necessarily have to do it through OpenSea either. If you have your NFT in your MetaMask, you can just hold down, press your finger on the NFT, and a little option will pop up that says update metadata. And as wallet technology, Hero mentioned something earlier about us being way ahead of the curve on the technology side, and he's right. As technology continues to catch up with us, and they are very quickly, other wallets will implement stuff like this that will allow refreshing the metadata to be a little easier. They'll, the viewing experience will get better as time goes on. But I'm going off on a tangent again. You guys are gonna have to reel me back in.
All right. Yeah, Hero wants to say something. He started talking. You
Oh,
want to say something?
I can always say all kinds of things. I'm not sure what that particular point was going to be exactly, but I think I guess to maybe go back, one place we can go is the publisher's point, playing on my prior statement about it being centralized, right? I mean, we are a decentralized news organization that operates in a centralized fashion by virtue of the people who are really contributing at the moment, but also, like publisher said, the way the protocol is built, it scales so fast, right? So you could have a node in Africa, in India, in China, in Russia. I mean, essentially like tomorrow, right? And I think that's coming, right? I mean, by the very nature of how we do this, there will be people from across the globe, like in Brazil, who are interested in doing this kind of work. And whether that's GMN Brazil and GMN Africa, we don't really know yet, right? I mean, one of the things that we struggle with is the technology, like we mentioned, allows us to basically do about 250 words, 330 if you're really being a jerk, and 2 minutes of audio, right? But you don't get, we don't have the ability to hyperlink. We can't do, multi-page NFTs, but that's temporary. I mean, if we finish out 2022, with 2 minutes of audio and 250 words of text,
That's huge.
Very surprised, right? And
yeah,
so
I'll be shocked.
Yeah, and so at some point, either publisher builds it or somebody else does, but we're going to have a multi-page NFT viewer, and then you could have a page devoted to North America, South America, Europe, et cetera, right? And then you're going to sort of incentivize, the real decentralization. As soon as people can create and load their own content, or feel empowered to also publish on their own. I mean, you can imagine these little GMN media nodes all over the world, right? And again, to go back to publisher's point about WikiLeaks, I mean, the amazing thing about that, right, is we were seeing for the first time sort of inside of the veil in terms of how governments operate, how communications are sent, the language that's used around diplomacy and things like that. And of course, the governments don't like that, right? And so, Julian Assange has spent the last 10 years, under various forms of lockdown, of jail, of otherwise being, oppressed by the government. And I'm not going to weigh in on whether I think that's right or wrong. It's beside the point. The point is, though, is that with the proper technology You can't arrest everybody. You can't imprison everybody. You can't censor everybody. And when you're on chain like we are, you really can't do that, right?
And so, Hero, excuse me, but in this point, I just want to stress that we are doing for the news the same that Bitcoin did for the money.
That's right. That's very well said. That's right. We are creating an anti-fragile version of information that can't and won't be stopped by anything. Right.
That's exactly it. And that's where I was exactly getting to, guys. I mean, you see the map, and so because it has a decentralized, permissionless, and trustless nature, you can't take it down, right? It is immutable. It's memorialized in the blockchain, and you can't take that out no matter what you do. And so this is the first time ever. The only way you take it out right now is the publisher gets a bad toothache, right?
But even then, right? Even then, there's still options around that. Let's say, God forbid, something were to happen to me. I were to get hit by a truck tomorrow. COOK could easily pick up the baton. He could easily update the contract. I mean, maybe not easily at first, but he'll figure it out. He's a smart guy.
For sure.
And it continues, right? And same goes if something were to happen to him, somebody else would pick up the baton. I mean, the tools and everything are in place for this thing to continue forever.
They cannot take it down from the chain, right? It's gonna run anyways.
Never, yeah.
Yeah, you can't take it down.
And if if the protocol were to get censored or something, it's as simple as somebody forking the contract and starting again. Right, exactly. Building anew. It's in the true crypto fashion.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And if I may say to our listeners, and just like Hero said, and I forgot to talk about it. So you can update your NFT to get the new news every day, and you also can listen to them. So you can read the news, and you can listen to the news, and the previous editions are you can find them on our Discord channel. So if you have the NFT, you can access this channel and you can see all the previous editions if you want to.
That's right. And one of the perks of being a subscriber is you have full access to the archive, which lets you go all the way back to the very first issue.
Well, so this actually brings up an interesting point that I wanted to talk about too, is that when you are a subscriber, so the way the process works is essentially you go and you to the GMN website and you mint a paper, not an edition because it's not only one, but you essentially mint a subscription, and that subscription is a lifetime subscription, and so you get the news in perpetuity every day. And it's true
and how much does it cost?
11 MATIC right now.
Raised it by 11 MATIC, and so today that's about
11 MATIC.
$22, right? For a lifetime of on-chain news. And what is interesting about the technology of having an NFT and the way it integrates into Discord is you can see how the sausage is made. You can go into the channels where we talk about writing and talk about editing and talk about marketing and talk about engineering, and it is a fully transparent news organization. It's decentralized, but it's also transparent. So you can see, the way that publisher and Katrina and I talk about the news, the way that she takes what I write and she butchers it to make it make more sense. And then you can see us making fun of each other in the process, right? And you're never going to get that in any other news organization, honestly, in the entire world. And so, you are not only going to see how the news is made, you're going to feel how the news is made. To go back to your point a minute ago, Diego, about culture, right? So, for me, there's a tagline I think about sometimes. It's not a tagline per se, but it's kind of a saying that I have where, I got into the technology. I wasn't here for the money. I've never really been money driven, but I came for the tech. And then I realized there's this amazing culture in certain corners of Web3. And then there's this community that the culture has created, right? And we do that same thing here at Good Morning News. And, when you have the NFT, you can see, the way the culture of GMN operates and the flow of it, the ebb of it. It's so interesting, these little tiny crannies within these discords that are on these servers and nameless farms throughout, Western Washington and Central Washington, where without this, it's not the full, you don't get the full thing, and so you can come into the Discord and you can hang out in Town Square and you can listen to some lo-fi. But
Yeah.
what you do is get the full sense of how the news is made. And so the subscription is a transparency viewer as well, right? And it allows you to really participate more fully. You can also go into those channels, can't you, publisher, and talk, right? Well,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, you, not only you
So-
watch what's happening, you can participate. You become an actor in the news,
So,
And
so
get
are
paid
you
for it.
saying, anyone can join the Good Morning News and write an article?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's exactly what
absolutely.
we're saying. Yeah.
And
That's
as Hero just said that he's not here, he wasn't here for the money, because money from all of this is just a consequence. We're here to, to spread the message or spread the culture, and money is just gonna be the consequence. So anyone can join us and help us build this beautiful thing that is the Good Morning News.
Well, so we joke a lot that, one of the goals is when I'm not able to write anymore. Not because I don't want to write, but because there's so many other people writing that. So the way we work around here is, publisher and some others cull stories, drop them into a news channel, and then we vote on them. Sometimes I'll write original content and drop it in the news channel as well to be voted on. And so if I don't write anything, we vote on the news of the day, and then I write up essentially what the community decided they want to be published that night. And so, that might be something, from Plater and Games, to regulations, to the metaverse and everything else in between. And it's funny, right? Because, many nights there's a story I really want to write about, and it doesn't get voted up. And so, I find myself, sort of writing these stories that I would never write before, because, and I'm writing them because the community has said, this is what we're writing tonight. It's not the, so I joke a lot that I have the title at Good Morning News of editor-in-chief, but it's never had less meaning anywhere in the world. It doesn't mean anything. Publisher at least publishes, all I really, I write, and then, on the occasion when publisher writes, I'll edit. Katrina more or less does copy editing and content editing every night regardless. But it's really fascinating. And so, I can't wait for the day when there are 7 writers who have dropped original stories from throughout the world, and we have to choose one of them to publish, right?
Yeah.
That'll be my happiest day at Good Morning News, when there's no
Awesome.
more news feeds that tell us what to write, but people are writing original content, and that's what we're voting on. It's going to happen. It's going to happen this year, and I'm going to be crying in my sparkling water when it does.
So I'm glad you brought that up here. That's a great point. Here's how the news works. Every single news television station out there, this is what they do. They're all plugged into the Associated Press RSS feed, right? They all cull through stories of the day, and then each individual news organization will decide which stories best fit their narrative, right? And that's what a low budget news organization does. They just cull stories and then repeat them. Other news outlets, on the other hand, much like I'll use New York Times as an example, because they do put out original content. I don't necessarily agree with it all the time, but they do put out original content. If you're a reputable news organization that actually does have reputable journalists working for the publication, then you're going to get original content daily, right? And so I think that's where GMN finds itself at right now, is that crossroads where we're kind of in that still kind of low budget news organization where we're just kind of culling the stories from the latest AP RSS feed and putting our own twist on it. But eventually, Hero's exactly right. Eventually, we will grow to the point where we do have journalists that are writing every day and contributing original content and going out there and actually asking some hard questions. That is the long-term vision.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
Let me get to the website here, publisher. I am looking to the goodmorningnews.club, and I see some buttons there like printer, donut shop, and gift shop. Would you mind going over those and explain us what are those and what do they do?
Yeah, absolutely. So our main landing page there, Good Morning News, is just kind of just a brief rundown of what we do and what we're building here. And if that first tab is the printer tab, that's going to take you directly to the Good Morning News printer. That's where you'll go and you'll actually print your publication NFT. And that'll be the NFT that actually gets you the subscription and the news every day and gets you full access to the Discord. The next one over is the donut shop, which these other ones are just kind of little fun things that me personally that I've just been building because it's what I do. I cannot stop building. No, even though we've got an entire project that we've got here that we're building up, I can't stop myself. So I keep building these fun little things. One of them was the donut shop. We just thought, why not give the community something fun that's, for me, I was just kind of showcasing my, and this is kind of true for all of them. There really are just kind of my portfolio pieces showcasing what I'm capable of doing. Yeah. And,
but hey, you taught me how to mint an NFT from the contract with a donut, right?
I did
that from
yeah.
you. You did.
The first round of donuts. The first round of donuts that we didn't even have a front end with it. I just made like a contract that had maybe 12 or 13 donuts total and just gave them out to the community. And they were such a success that, now we have the actual donut shop where people can go and just mint themselves a donut anytime. But yeah, awesome. Originally it was kind of just a teaching tool to teach the community how to mint directly from a contract.
And then you also create the gift shop.
Yes, the gift shop is actually, it's a fairly new edition. I guess they all are, but the gift shop is where we're doing our commemorative editions. And that's actually a whole different thing that we do at Good Morning News. As you know, the NFT, the publication NFT updates every day. So if there's an old issue that somebody contributed to, or just somebody really liked, or it was some piece of breaking news, then it's gone from that particular NFT, right? We're on to the next story. But if the community decides that they want a commemorative edition, they can vote on it, and we'll release these GMN commemorative editions, which I think the last one we did was like 50, I think.
50, and, 50.
Yeah. And
what
that is a contract that has.
Oh,
sorry, go ahead. Sorry. No, you're fine.
I was just going to ask you, do you plan to put the contract in other blockchains like layer 2 solutions like Arbitrum or Optimism, or you plan to maintain them at the Polygon chain?
That's a really, really great question, and one that I've actually been wrestling with a lot over the last week with the with the congestion that Polygon is seeing. The issue is that we have to write to the contract every night, meaning that every night when we update this thing, we have to pay some sort of transaction fee to update all the NFTs. On Polygon, that's a fraction of a cent. However, over on Optimism and Arbitrum, you're looking at roughly $200 just to deploy the contract over there, and then probably roughly $10 every night to update it. Eventually, I would like to be on a more secure blockchain, but we have to. The migration would have to occur at a time when GMN is bringing in enough revenue to sustain itself on those chains, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, two things must happen. We must bring more revenue, and the chains must be like cheaper to deploy. Yeah,
and I think we're getting there, and ZK has been brought up as an option, but I think we're probably still going to run into the issue of it being just slightly out of our price range. But, and again, I think Polygon is a great place for us to grow, right, and reach that point. And I don't think we're too far off, even with the cheap price of our publication NFT. I think with all the little side things that we do and the little charity projects that we start up, I think we can quickly get there.
And I've also noticed that there are limited editions of the Good Morning News. Is that right?
Yeah, yes, that's the gift shop, right? So those are our commemorative editions. And those are more expensive, right? Because it's just a collection of one issue stopped in a moment in time that people can hang on to. And those are a big deal, I think, because if you are a writer, say you're a writer from Africa or China or wherever, and you do submit a piece of writing to the protocol, and it does get voted on and it does get published, then you're most likely as a writer going to be really, really freaking proud of that publication. Yeah. You're not going to want to see it burn the next day. So that at that moment in time, that would be a great use case for those commemorative editions. And I do want to mention that anyone who does contribute to those publications, they get a commemorative edition for free, right? So if you're the writer that did, write the story, then you're getting a commemorative edition no matter what. You don't have to pay that mint price or anything like that.
Yeah, I've got mine. For marketing, right? I've got mine here. Day 29.
Because you're a contributor, sir. You get free stuff because you contribute.
That's awesome. I
Yeah.
mean, before we end this first episode, I want you guys, if you guys have anything else to add, and how can people join us? What the message you want to tell them? Go ahead. Start with Diego.
Yeah, I just want to invite anyone that who's listening to us, come join us. Just hang around our Discord, ask any questions that you might have. We are a really open community. Everybody's welcome here. Every ability is welcome as well. And yeah, I've been having a great time since I joined the Morning News community, and I'm really proud to be part of this project.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Publisher, why don't you take from here?
Boy, I don't think I need to do any promoting of this project. I think Diego does a great job of that for me. So I'll just end it with saying that I want to thank everybody that makes this possible every night. Diego, you, Gelfi, now Hero, of course, True Cat, CWOK, all the people behind the curtains that allow me to do this. I mean, I just can't put it into words. I can't thank you enough. You guys are fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. Why, Hero, why don't you take from here?
Yeah, plus one to what Diego and Publisher said, without question. I would encourage listeners who have never written before, or who have never written for a news publication before, to come to the server. You don't need to be a subscriber, and then you can write. And if you think it's terrible, it's not. If it's not up to our standards, we'll make it up to our standards. We have in True Cat the best editor in the business. I am not too shabby of a content editor, and can also help get that work into publishable shape. But don't think just because you haven't tried to write news that you can't come and join Good Morning News. Please come, write for us, experience it for yourself. You get paid in our native token paper, PAPER.
Thank you for bringing that up, buddy. I've been meaning to bring that up this whole time. Way to go.
Yeah, me too. So we have our own token, which maybe we can talk about on the next episode. But please come join, come write. We'll get into shape, and you'll be a published journalist in GMN. Come join us. Thank you for having us today. This has been quite a surprise, and I wouldn't take these 45 minutes back for the world. Thanks, friends.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, Sector,
Thanks.
do you want to have anything else to ask us or say about this project before we end?
Yeah, I would like to know what Sector has to say. He's the new guy around, but what do you think about our product so far, guy?
Well, you obviously do your job as a marketer pretty good, because you got me all fired up about GMN. So that's the first thing I want to talk about.
I'm glad to hear that. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. I think it is important for people to realize that, first off, it is still early. No matter if we're talking about GMN, if we talk about Bitcoin, if we talk about Ethereum or DeFi or whatever it is in the crypto space, let's call it that way, or Web3 or whatever. So my first talking point is just get involved in some way. I mean, a week back, I didn't know what GMN was. And all it took me was a few hours of research just to get into the Discord server, mint an NFT, get involved. Obviously, join you today, guys, for that wonderful podcast. So people, go out, read about it, and just get your feet wet. Get involved in some way, in some capacity. No matter if it's small or large, just do something about it. And the second one is, obviously, I wouldn't use the word utility, but for the lack of a better word, yes, look out for the utility of the projects you're contributing to. Now that's something that has to be something of value, and I'm talking about dollar value or market value or whatever. I'm talking about something that brings positive net change to the world. So that's something that GMN does pretty darn good. I mean, even if I'm the newcomer, I mean, it took me an hour to see that. So don't hesitate. Just take the step.
Well
Awesome.
said,
That was
sir.
awesome.
I
Wow,
couldn't have said
wow.
it better.
Yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled here. Yeah, it's
I
great.
wanted to thank you everyone for taking some time and coming here to do this first episode. And as Sector just said, we're trying to build a decentralized news organization. So we don't care where you're from, who you are, what color you are. Just come in, join us, help us build this magic stuff, and you're gonna be compensated. So thank you all. We'll see you next time.
Excuse me, Gelfi. Would you allow me to finish this?
Sure,
We're not here
absolutely.
Yeah,
You
because
had
we are
such
not
a
here
good
for
close too. Dang it.
we are not here for the money. We are here for the community and for the revolution.
There
You
you
know,
go.
Diego,
That's a close.
So I always
Yeah.
say, come for the tech, stay for the community, or no, come for the tech, fall in love with the community, stay for the revolution. So Diego, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Thank you all. Yeah, see you next time.